Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Anthony here at the Breakout Daily. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Today, we are going to be talking about art prints. We're talking originals. We're talking limited prints and a whole lot more. So if you're a fan of, in my case, what we're going to be going over today is comic book art. From the artists and limited prints and everything, but I did want to share some stuff with you if you are in the market. So stay tuned. All right, guys. So again, thank you so much for tuning into the Breakout Daily. As always, please take a minute, hit subscribe down below. Check us out on IG and Facebook. Guys, today I am gearing up to swap some frames for some prints. I just got a original art piece in, and I want to share it all with you. Well, not all of it. I want to share part of this with you, but most importantly, what I'd like to do is just share some tips and tricks and a couple of things maybe to help you understand a little bit better, at least from my perspective, of prints and art in the comic world. For me, as much as I love having slabs up, here's one of many. Right above here, there is a bunch of slabs kind of put up in some comic books. I've got, I don't know, over a dozen slabs kind of put up. This is cool. An alternative to this, though, if you want to do slabs and everything, great way to go to present your collection. Now, an alternative to that, of course, is prints. And you may have a favorite artist. Maybe it's Tyler Kirkham, or maybe it's John Romita Jr., or maybe it's In-Hook Lee, or maybe it's Patrick Leeson. Maybe it's the list could go on forever. So an alternative to that, of course, is getting a print of some kind or original art, and then there's some variations of those. Now, I'm going to give you some examples because I'm going to be reframing these because I finally got some frames right behind me. We've got a Spider-Man and another Spider-Man right there. Those are prints, and they're signed. Both are signed by Mike Zeck. That is the Secret Wars 8 pre-production print, which is signed by Mike Zeck and Warren Beatty. I've said that many times over, but that frame finally came in, and I've been using these black cheap frames at my local shop. So picked up some frames, and I'm going to reframe these. But as mentioned, these are not all of my prints. I've got them throughout the house and the garage and everywhere else. This is, just to start off, a basic print, right, is something like this. This is the Immortal Hulk, the Venomized. So hopefully you guys can see that. Tyler Kirkham, and it is Tyler Kirkham after Joe Fosada, and it's signed by Tyler Kirkham. I do have a COA. Now, this is just an open print, and while it is awesome, I think it's awesome. It looks cool. It presents well. That is an open print, okay, which is cool, but it's, I don't know what it's limited to because it's not on a run of sorts. So it could be 1,000 of them. Could be 10,000 of them, could be 20,000 of these guys lying around. In fact, I think on Tyler Kirkham art, he's still selling this version of it. Now, what I would recommend is if you're not getting it signed in person, if it's not signed in person, I'm going to show you one that is. I would highly recommend getting a COA, so at least you know where and when the signature happened. Now, obviously, if it's in person, whatever. I mean, for me, this next one I'll show you is one that I had signed in person and was happy to add it to my collection. Again, I don't believe this is limited, but it's still badass art. It's right here. We've got Gambit and Rogue. Gambit's sitting backwards on a chair, smoking a cigarette. Rogue's leaning over him. He's got the cards falling. Love this. This is from Ben Harvey. I was fortunate enough to meet Ben at the Valley mini-con hosted by my LCS, Agus Comics of Alaska. Ben was one of the guys that was there. Super cool to meet him. He signed this, And obviously it's up on my wall. I'm a huge fan of Gambit, and it's just badass, right? It's something, again, this is an alternative to if you want to break it up. That's where I have been with some of this, because like I love this, but I also love this. So the way that I have built my office space or studio or whatever you want to call it is with a combination of both. Now, while I was there, I'm not pulling it down because it's actually in a kind of a goofy spot in the garage. While I was at the ValleyCon, I also have this Last Ronin Ben Harvey Toy Wiz special print, which is, again, he signed in person. We bullshitted. He's a great dude. I also got a Sean Anderson 1 of 100 Ghost Rider prints. Now, that is 1 of 100, which means in theory he should not re-release it, and that is the first of 100 prints, and then once it's done, it's done. And it's signed by him. No, there's no COA. I was there in person. It's numbered by him. It's the gallery print for him, so forth and so on. So authenticating it's going to be easy on that one, in my opinion. The cool part about that is, unlike this, as cool as this is, I love it. The art on it's incredible. It's signed by Ben in person, all of those things. The scarcity is unknown, right? There could be 20 of these. There could be 5,000 of these, depending on what he's selling at his shows or when he goes to Comic Cons and what have you. So that's something to consider when you're buying prints. What are you trying to get out of it? And the reason I mentioned that, it's just like this Tyler Kirkham, there could be 10 million of these. And then while the presentation part is covered, it's fucking awesome. Great. It's signed. Even better. The value of it is not necessarily that of something else. So, and I'll give you an example of that. The 1 in 100 Ghost Rider from Sean Anderson. There's only 100 of them, period. And I have the first 1 of 100. So I think that's pretty cool. I think it's going to be scarce. And Sean Anderson's a badass artist. Now, here's another example. This is also from Ben Harvey. This is 1 of 1. This is a original art piece. I got this for my son's room, and I've showed this before. Good old Buzz Boy. I mean, like, look at this. This is just cool as hell looking, and it's signed, of course, but this is 1 of 1. This is not a print. This is the original. He had it sitting there for quite a while, he said, and I got to bullshit with him. So that's 1 of 1. There's only 1 of those in the world. And is it worth a bunch? Probably not. But again, something to consider if you're in the market to purchase some stuff, maybe to spruce up your office, your studio, your living room, what have you, is if it looks cool and it's only $20, fucking get it. If you want to incentivize a print, then you get some signatures on it, right? Because that just like anything else makes it cooler, makes it worth more. And then you can go into limited prints where, and a lot of guys do this. Tyler Kirkham does this. Sean Anderson does. A lot of guys do this to where they're like, no, we're going to release this print for only 1,000 or 500, just like your variant comics, just like your retailer incentives and whatnot. So that is very cool, because then you're only in a small pool of people in the world that can get that print. Now, original art to me is kind of that next thing towards, like, there's 1 of 1 of those. There's not replication. Now there may be variation, which happens. An artist wants to revisit the character. The artist wants to do what have you, but still it's 1 of 1. Now for exclusivity for comic books anyways, if you're into this, there's one step above it, right? And recently the Secret Wars 8 page 25 sold for millions of dollars. Page 24 sold for like $285,000. That is because that print was a pre-production original art that ultimately went to the inkers and then went to print. Now, I do have one of those, the only one I have. I just got it, and this thing is freaking sick, and that's the other reason why I am taking these ones down and I'm going to redo them. This is from X-Men Annual, issue 1, page 9. Artist was, I think it's David Baldion. And it is, again, some Gambit. There's a little bit of stuff going on, but it is a badass. I think it's badass. So I don't know if you guys will be able to see it very well. There it is. There's your proofing. This is all the pencil work. So it'll go to the inker, and then it'll go to the colorist. But this is going to go right up there next to my Gambit from Ben Harvey. And I actually won this from Anti-Hero during a mystery I was buying a shitload of mystery boxes like a fucking idiot, but I did win that, which was awesome. So that is one of one that went into production. I do got to find the comic book. I was trying to find it and with no luck. So I will continue to research and find it. But something cool too, in some of these instances, they will, especially with the original artist, the guy that pencils it, they'll have, and I don't know if you can see it, they'll have the little X marks for the black, and they'll go over a lot of really cool details within this. But to me, it's incredible because like this isn't a comic book, but this was done by hand. And while no, this is not worth $285,000 or what have you, God, what an incredible showpiece to have. Any one of these things are, especially when it comes down to you and what your likes are and what your budget is. A lot of these prints are affordable when they're in. When they're out of print and they go on to something else from the artist's perspective, which happens often. If you've been to a Comic-Con, if you go to their websites or wherever their digital art gallery is, you're going to see stuff come in, you're going to see stuff go out, you're going to see limited stuff. It's just absolutely amazing to me, and it makes for an incredible showpiece. But again, I want to point this out, and then we'll wrap this up. These are all comic book artists that I'm collecting because it goes with what I'm doing. I'm collecting comic books. It's a part of the hobby. I was fortunate enough to meet some of them. I did meet Sean Anderson, talked with him. I got to hang out and meet Ben Harvey, which was incredible. There is a big difference, though. Again, if you buy just a print, which again may or may not be limited, which means they could be selling that print for 20 years, or it could be a limited print. Now, if it's a limited print, it's limited to X amount, whatever they put the cap on it is. And then there's signatures. So these are things that I would say to you, if you're in the market, pay attention to that. And if it is signed and you're not buying it direct, like from TylerKirkhamArt.com, if you do buy that, he's going to send you a COA. But if it's not, and you're not getting it signed while you're present, then I would suggest getting a COA. I like that. I know some people don't care. I personally do. And then going on from that would be original art from the artist, which they do. There's a lot of great artists that will do commissions for you if you want a custom piece, or they have some from their artist books that they're willing to sell. And then to me, the next step would be the stuff that got published. If you can get an original art piece that was actually published in a comic book, because how fucking cool is that? I don't know. I love it. I love, again, I got this by an auction and I'm like, fucking beautiful. It can go right next to my other guy right here. So we got Gambit here, and then we're going to have this wicked pencil art of Gambit right there. Like, I don't know. I love it. But again, that's my setup though. That's what I've been building and aspiring to do. And it's going to change through time. But those are the prints. Again, I have quite a few. I absolutely love the art of comic books. The artists of it they're just incredible at their craft, and they're wildly different too. That's the other fun part to me about being a collector and someone in the hobby. So that's what we got for you today, guys. Hopefully this kind of guides you a little bit if you're in the world of considering getting some prints or buying some original art or what have you. There's some differences for you from my collection. Again, I've got a bunch more art, not just in here. I've got some I got some in my bedroom. My kid's got some original, or not original. Well, he does. He has some original art, some prints. I've got some in my garage, and I'm going to keep building the collection because I like how that shows. I love how all kinds of different things show, and we're able to support the hobby, but also just support the art, man. That's, I don't know. I love it. I love it. All right, guys. Well, let's wrap it there. Thank you so much for tuning into the Breakout Daily. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button down below. If you want to be notified, ring the bell. Check us out on IG and Facebook. Also, hey, take a moment. If you guys have some art in your office or you're considering getting some art, drop a comment down below. I'll get back with you and share some thoughts if you want my thoughts on it, or I'd love to hear what you're working on in your spaces with current comic art, or maybe you got lucky enough to get some old comic art as well outside of just the slabs and whatnot. So thank you guys again for tuning in, and we'll catch up with you in the next video.